What's the total debt, Katie?
including mortgages,
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
4.5 million. But we felt like God showed us these three specific coins that were invested
Ooh,
in.
like a crystal ball.
Call me back when you're serious and you actually want to get out of this mess. I mean, you guys
Yeah,
make
that's what I'm trying to get out
$250,000
of.
a year.
Okay, so today we're going to be checking out some call-ins on the Dave Ramsey Show. I've found a lot of clips with different situations people have gotten themselves into, instead of all of them being, the I'm $100,000 in debt and I'm bad with money type stories. Don't worry, we are going to see that as well, but we have a lot to go through today along with comments from you guys from previous videos. So if you want to be featured on a future video, leave it in the comments down below. But I don't want to waste any more time. We'll just get into it with another example of somebody putting their finances into the hands of God.
The reason we invest in crypto in the first place is obviously we are Christian and we do not gamble and don't think gambling is okay, but we felt like God showed us these three specific coins that were invested
Ooh,
in.
like a crystal ball.
And we have just been waiting for the right time for him to show us when to sell, which is why we've been holding for 5 years through 2 bull runs.
Arabella, I'm upset with this. I'm upset that you're telling us this.
Really bad
Yeah.
theology, Arabella.
Just right off the bat, the mental gymnastics saying that we're Christians and we don't gamble. God was the reason why we have these cryptocurrencies. Now, she didn't say what she was holding, but the way that she worded it made it sound like it was some sort of altcoin or meme coin, which I've made dedicated videos about. You're basically just gambling, hoping that you'll be able to pull out all of your money before it gets rug pulled, and then again saying the reason why they were doing this was because God told them to. So far, we've seen stories where somebody made a Jesus meme coin because of that reason. There were also examples of people praying for money to just appear out of thin air. I'm not trying to make fun of you if you're religious or not, I don't care either way, but putting your financial future at stake or justifying gambling in cryptocurrency in the hands of a higher power seems like an extremely dangerous game to me. And just mentioning cryptocurrency online, the entire space is so shady now that when you look at the comment section, it is full of bots with this random Diane Walter, some sort of grifter, from weakness to strength, from grass to grace, and from nothing to something at Diane Walter. I'm so lucky to work with someone who inspires me every day. Tons of comments like that. I mean, the whole thing is just a mess of a situation.
I was an idiot. I was in love with a man that convinced me to co-sign on a 2019 Jetta in the fall of 2021. I'm not in that relationship anymore. But anyway, last summer I convinced him to turn the vehicle back into the dealer, basically voluntarily repossess it. He could not pay the payment on time, and I was also helping him, and he made more than me.
How much money do you have?
Well, I'm on baby step 1. I'm just starting out.
You don't have any money.
I don't have any money. I have $3,000 in credit card debt that I have consumer credit.
What do you make?
$61,000 a year.
Okay. What was owed on the Jetta? Do you know?
$29,000 and change.
Okay. Let's say there's a $15,000 deficit when you're done, and they come to you as the co-signer, and they want $15,000. Well, the first thing you tell them is what you told me. I have no money.
So I think this one's pretty straightforward. Being a co-signer, whether it is your friend or family or significant other, can lead to things like this, especially if you end up breaking up or if you're not on the same page financially. And I guess one of the positives about this is that it's just a Jetta and not some big Mercedes SUV that's $90,000, but still 29 grand owed and a possible $15,000 deficit is still a significant amount of money. And she said that she didn't really have anything. These types of situations can set you back pretty significantly.
I bought a house a few years ago, and I discovered soon enough that it was a bit of a lemon. Since then, I've been sort of spending all of my time repairing this house and trying to get it up to market value in hopes to, rent it or sell it or do something with it that could be profitable.
How much is your mortgage payment?
It's $5,300 a month.
And what is your take-home pay, sir?
My take-home is about $7,700 a month.
Your mortgage payment is $5,000 and your take home is $7,000. How do you eat?
It's been tricky.
Are you running up credit card debt?
I don't have any consumer debt. No,
is there
this
money
really the only
somewhere
debt I
else
have.
coming in or going out? How in the world? That's an impossible budget.
So this touches on a few issues with the housing market. First off, he ended up buying a house and then it immediately starts falling apart. Tons of repairs, the cost is crazy. We've seen many examples of that on this channel. And then the second part, overextending. $5,000 a month mortgage, which that in and of itself is just crazy to me. And then his take-home pay is $7,700 a month. Almost everything is going into that house. I really don't know how he doesn't have debt. Possible car payment, even if he has a paid off car, the insurance, any of the utility bills, the phone bill, internet as well, food prices on top of it. I have no idea how this guy's surviving. Some of the comments here, my question is, how did he get a mortgage in the first place? I wouldn't say we're at the same level of the '08 financial crisis when people were getting loans for houses that they had absolutely no business getting, but we are creeping up to that because I've even looked up myself, wanting to see how much I would qualify for, and it was way higher than it should have actually been. That doesn't math, what bank allowed that, a lot of those types of comments. I honestly don't know how he would survive that situation other than selling the house. Hopefully he would make some sort of profit with it, but he said it was a lemon house. He's been doing a lot of repairs to get it to market value, basically in between a rock and a hard place.
I've been married to my husband for 30 years. He earns a 6-figure salary and I've been a stay-at-home mom. He wanted to manage our finances because working together stressed him out and he didn't want to argue. I thought we lived a good life, but on a recent vacation, I overheard him checking account balances on our credit cards and became concerned. So I started quietly researching. I discovered he was tearing up financial documents and throwing them away so I couldn't see them. He has depleted 95% of a job buyout and taken loans on what little retirement savings he had, less than $100K. There's some significant deceit, whether it's an addiction, it's somebody else he's in love with, or he's got other pet projects he's trying to work through. This is not just to avoid confrontation. This is because he has a different life.
I mean, they think that he might be living a double life. I immediately think that he's keeping up the charade, keeping up with the Joneses, whatever you want to call it, saying that he made 6 figures. You don't have to do anything. You're a stay-at-home mom now. We'll go on vacation, have the perfect life that everybody wants. And maybe at the beginning he could swing all of this, but business goes up and down, whether you're self-employed or working at a corporation, maybe getting laid off. And he's just scrambling to try to keep that life that they can't afford. I mean, a depleted 95% of a buyout, taking out personal loans. I mean, the guy is cooked. All to make it look like they have a nice, perfect, happy life to other people. We have a comment from one of you guys. I'm so happy to be married with someone who's on the same page as me when it comes to finances. Probably one of the most important decisions when it comes to your life overall for several reasons. But if you're a heavy saver and your partner is a heavy spender, there are going to be a lot of problems down the road and it probably won't end well. But up next, we have one of the examples where this couple is making way more money than the average, should be living a very nice, comfortable life, but they end up having virtually no money to their name.
I recently started working. I'm a registered nurse. I've been a nurse now for 2 years. And I really didn't have any credit card debt. And then as soon as I started working, I started spending, and now we're about $55,000 in credit card debt. And I don't know how to get out of it. Both my husband and I make a decent amount of money, and we just need to figure out the right way to go about it.
Do you still have the credit card?
Yes, I still have them. I lock them all, and I'm trying to pay them all off, every month, but it just doesn't seem to be going very far.
What's your household income?
I make about $100, and my husband makes about $230, $250. It ranges with his overtime.
Okay, so you're making $350 household. What caused you to go, we don't have enough money? Out of $350,000, I need to go $55,000 in credit card debt. What caused that?
Well, I guess every month we're down to like 50 cents of left in our account, and we're trying. We don't.
Where is $30,000 going every month, even in New York City?
Just from her voice, I knew they were from the Northeast. It sounded like another situation keeping up with the Joneses. This clip goes on for a while, and she never really gives an explanation, because at $300,000 or $350,000 a year, how can you not pay off a $55,000 credit card? She would also try to make it sound like they weren't spending that much money every month, so I guess it was just disappearing. I don't know, we've seen situations like this where they'll call into Dave Ramsey, these financial shows, asking for help, but then not telling the entire entire story. So clearly you're not actually serious about fixing the situation, and overall they're just going to be stuck in their ways. We can look at a couple of the comments. She's leaving something out. How do you go from a $3,000 mortgage to $7,000 household expenses? None of the things she was rattling off with the prices made sense compared to the amount of income. Someone in the relationship is supporting another person, something isn't adding up. It could be something like that. My guess is that they are just spending way more than they should. Goes along with a comment from one of you guys. We think we have an income problem, but really we have a spending problem. I think one of the perfect examples of this, if you look up overconsumption versus underconsumption, many of the clips of underconsumption core is honestly just normal consuming. We're just so hardwired to want more and more. Whenever there's a new item, new piece of tech that comes out every year, every 6 months, you do that for years and then decades, that just becomes how you think. Way more money gets siphoned out of your bank account because of that all the time, buying little things that you really don't need, and then you find yourself paycheck to paycheck, barely surviving.
I am about $130,000 in debt.
On what?
And a lot of it is, well, the majority is my truck and my wife's car.
Which is how much each?
The truck is $40,000 and the wife's car is at $15,000.
But go ahead.
It's only $30,000 a year right now.
You said 30,000?
What?
Yes.
Your income is $30K?
Yes. I quit my business because I was going through a struggle for a short period of time, and I decided that I'm just going to quit, go for a job, and it didn't work out. So I started a new company.
Until your business is making you enough money to float your lifestyle, it's really just a hobby or a side hustle. And I commend you for starting that business, but it's not making enough money to manage your household bills, obviously.
So this goes into some of those clips if you ever looked up on TikTok, just quit your normal 9-to-5, start a business. You'll be much happier and be able to make a lot more money. Maybe that is the case for some people, but in this example, it's not working out, at least now. Only $30,000 a year while driving around in a $40,000 truck and another $15,000 loan on top of it. So I'm not trying to belittle or stop anybody from starting their own business. My best advice is to start something while you already have a possible normal 9-to-5 job or part-time job, something with at least a bit of steady income, instead of jumping into the deep end and hoping you'll float and survive and pay all the monthly bills. Some of the comments, I don't know why people call with issues like this. If you don't want to be in debt, sell the cars. Why do you need someone to tell you this? Step 1, sell both cars and get the cheapest, reliable one. Another comment from one of you guys, $1,000 is not a lot of money to have, but is a lot of money to owe. And I definitely think that resonates with many people in today's world. $1,000 will disappear almost instantly on expenses, but when you start owing that kind of money to credit cards, to car payments, especially when we're talking about interest, it gets out of hand very quickly.
So my parents asked me for $40 to $50K for a down payment for a second home.
Oh God, no! Don't do that.
Okay, well, can Michael finish his question?
Okay, go ahead.
So they currently live about 10 hours away from the rest of us siblings, and they don't have the down payment for that home. The reason for them not being able to move and be closer to us is my father is waiting to finish 5 more years at his job to collect a pension, and they're wanting to have the flexibility to be closer, but to have their own place. I'm 25 years old, just got out of my own debt, and I'm really unsure what to do.
So what they're asking you is a couple of things. They've created a set of principles for their life. We're going to stay here for 5 more years. We don't want to be uncomfortable when we travel. We want to have our own place. Problem is they're grown adults, but they can't afford these principles they've put into motion. So they come to their 25-year-old child and said, you make our dreams that we can't afford, you make our principles concrete because we can't.
Right.
And it's not your job. Right. And by the way, this will mess up your relationship. I would tell you there's a financial reason to not do this, but the main thing is, dude, it will mess up your relationship with your dad.
And I definitely agree with that. Mixing finances with your family can be very bad. I also think it's pretty dangerous to start up a business with a family member if you're not on the exact same financial page. Even if the business becomes successful, maybe one person wants to take it in one direction and you want to take it in the other, and everything starts to implode from there. And I mean, having your parents ask you for a $50,000 loan when you're 25 years old and just got out of your own debt really seems like a fast way to open up a rift in the family. We can look at some of the comments. What kind of parents would even think of asking this. Asking a 25-year-old child for that much money is wild. Dad should be ashamed. And another comment from one of you guys that goes well with this. With lending to a family, the general rule that I use, if you're going to loan money to a family or friend, then do it assuming you're never going to get paid back at all, and only give them an amount that you feel comfortable with never seeing again. Because if you constantly have to ask your uncle or your cousin for the couple $100 or couple $1,000 that they borrowed from you, it's almost guaranteed to start problems with whoever it is, and in the end does not seem worth it for the headache.
I am $230,000 in debt. With me and my husband are. I go see my family twice a year in Texas, and I feel guilty if I do because I'm trying to pay off my debt, but I feel guilty if I don't because my kids want to see my family. We put a lot towards our debt every month. We put between $2,000 to $5,000 towards it every month. So is it okay that I go see them?
How much money are you guys spending on these trips?
Like $1,000.
$1,000? And you're doing that twice a year. So we're talking $2,000 to $3,000 a year. So yes, I think it's one of these things. If you and your husband agree that $2,000 a year is going to put us back, 2 months probably in a debt payoff in general. And how much are you guys making a year?
My husband makes between $15,000 and $20,000 a month.
Why can you only put $2,000 a month towards your debt? Now I'm mad. Why do you guys have $15,000 of expenses every month?
Well, we have a pretty high mortgage, and then my son is in school.
How much is the mortgage a month?
$3,500 a month.
And how much is the school a month?
$1,500 a month.
So there's $10,000 left.
You're so lucky Rachel Cruz is here to be good cop. I'm just telling you right now, call me back when you're serious and you actually want to get out of this mess. I mean, you guys make $250,000 a year. Do you understand how insane this is?
Another one of the situations where they're not serious about actually getting out of debt because they're basically hiding whatever's actually happening in this situation. $15,000 to $20,000 a month, and even with the mortgage and the private school, you still have at least 5 figures a month coming in. So overall, something else has to be happening in the background because even with the high cost of living that everybody's dealing with now, $250,000 a year, you should be pretty comfortable.
Normal in America is broke. 78% of Americans have too much month left at the end of the money. They spend everything they make and then some every month. That's 8 out of 10 houses on your street are broke. You ever drive down a middle-class street and they got upper-class cars in the driveway? Tells you there's a problem. You can just count the payments is what you're doing.
And every few months when I make a new credit card debt video, I'll look at the new statistics and the credit card debt goes up again. The total debt per person in the country goes up as well. But it seems like whenever you drive anywhere, people have $80,000 Grand Wagoneers and the new GLS and the Suburbans and the Escalades and the McMansion houses, the new construction builds that are still wildly overpriced. And then people are surprised when almost 8 out of 10 people are basically broke. Some of the comments here, why don't schools teach basic finance? US schools are broken. And I've talked about my own experiences in high school. I did not have finance classes. Everything that I know today, I've learned through YouTube videos, looking it up online, the internet. So I mean, if you truly want to get serious about your finances, hopefully these types of videos help you, whether it's my channel or looking it up on TikTok, any of the other YouTubers. But even if you didn't learn a thing about finances while you were in school, almost anything that you want to know about the subject is at the tip of your fingers now. We are all connected to the internet.
When you spend cash, you're more aware of your spending. Here's an example. You go out to eat. When you're paying cash and you lay a $100 bill in that little black tray, Uncle Ben's coffin, you know it's his coffin because he ain't coming back. But when you send that plastic out, guess what comes back? The plastic. And you have a tendency to spend more on alcohol, more on desserts, and pick up the other person's tab at the restaurant when you are paying with plastic than when you're paying with cash.
I think that this could really be applied to almost anything. I know it's very rare for people to pay in cash now. Barely anybody walks around with cash. It's all credit cards or Apple Pay. And it has become much easier to spend a lot more money because you just swipe a credit card instead of handing them all of the bills. In the end, the same amount of money is taken out of your bank account, but it's much easier to spend an enormous amount of money on a credit card compared to spending that same amount of money in cash. Now we have a couple comments from this clip that go back and forth. You can't spend your entire lifetime thinking about about money, pay your bills, and enjoy, which I understand, but is almost always taken too far, where people don't care enough about their finances. Here's a reply from someone else: until you look at your bank account and don't get paid for another 2 weeks. Actually, you can and will spend your life thinking about money, either thinking how to be responsible with money or thinking about how to get money because of the irresponsibility with money. I know obsessing over finances and money can be a very bad thing in the long run, but on the flip side of it, if you're spending willy-nilly, whenever you feel like it, impulse buying, not saving enough for retirement or the future at all, you're basically guaranteeing yourself to be in a bad situation.
Honored to speak with you. How can we help?
So I just see a lot of people my age or younger bragging and boasting about their nice cars, houses, and vacations. And I just feel like I'm losing at life. I live a pretty humble lifestyle, but what am I doing wrong? How do I afford this?
You said people your age. What is your age?
I'm 33.
This is the problem that the millennial, your generation, was one of the first ones to really, really struggle with it. It used to be that we would say, don't keep up with the Joneses. Have you ever heard that old saying?
Of course.
Yeah. But the problem was, in those days, it wasn't as hard to keep up with the Joneses because they lived next door, and you saw them drive in their car, but you also saw them have a big fight. And you also knew that their kids were messed up, and you knew this and you knew that. So, when they got a car, it wasn't as big a deal because you kind of knew some of the dirt too, right? But on social media, your only thing you're looking at is the highlight reel.
I mean, that is dead accurate, honestly. How many different examples have we seen of some influencer, some celebrity, looking like they have the perfect life online, and then you find out they filed for bankruptcy? Or behind the camera, their entire family's falling apart. They hated each other. But they're never going to post that kind of stuff online. It's only going to be positive. You see that for a long enough period of time, 10, 15 years now, of solid social media consumption will make you think that you have to be on the level of them at the same period of your life as well. It's just not the reality of the world, and even the people you look at online. Some of the comments, they're living in debt. I was a loan officer at a bank for 5 years, and I can assure you the people living lavishly are soaring with debt. And I could agree with that. I've made several videos with the same type of points.
About 2 years ago, when my son was first born, I got into a really horrible financial decision. I got a car for my wife because we needed 2 vehicles. I was working out of town. And when I say I have a horrible interest rate, it's horrible. It's 22%. It was a stupid decision. I'm debating on either doing a voluntary repossession. It's not that I can't afford the vehicle, but it's just I've had the vehicle 2 years, and $2,000 has been paid towards the principal with $500 a month payments. Another thing being said, I did recently get approved to get it refinanced at a lower interest rate. Still not great, but it's at 13%.
I'll take it.
So I'm basically asking if I should refinance it or just go ahead and do a voluntary repossession.
Why can't you sell it? How far underwater are you?
It's pretty bad. The vehicle's worth $7,500, and I owe about $18,200.
Okay, so there was a lot there. 22% interest rate is a credit card. Of course, the refinance down to 13% is better, but still pretty bad. Being underwater $11,000, so you can't sell it, and a $500 a month payment with only $2,000 going to principal so far. The comment section really isn't that great for other people's experiences too, but the first one, bro took a 22% interest rate on a $7,500 car. Mine is 18%, and I'm a first-time buyer. My car was 21% when I was a first-time buyer. I thought I got a bad deal when I bought my Civic at, I believe, 7 or 8%, but I guess in comparison, it wasn't really that bad.
What's the total debt, Katie?
Including mortgages?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
About $4.5 million.
Okay, and how much is the mortgage on your home?
Our mortgage is, we owe $480 on the house, plus the second mortgage, which is $400, so about $880.
What's the house worth?
Probably 1.1.
Okay. What's the mortgage on the warehouse?
The mortgage on the warehouse, we owe about 3.3 on it, and the monthly payment on that is about $26,000.
And what's it worth?
4.1, 4.2.
Okay. What other debt is there other than these two?
There's credit card debt, which totals about $120,000. There's a personal loan from my parents, which is $115,000. There is the property tax, which is about $100,000. There are our ridiculous cars, which are $140,000.
Are they on the market for sale?
No.
They need to be today.
I feel like this whole clip is just above my tax bracket because I think $4.5 million is the highest we've ever seen on this channel. Now, I know it is a different kind of debt. They had some sort of warehouse and houses to go along with it, but still, 6 figures in credit card debt, 6-figure personal loan, the extravagant cars on top of it. I just don't know how these people would sleep at night. The amount of anxiety that I would have 24/7, I would barely be able to function.
Jade, between you and Sam, how many student loans do you guys have?
280,000. Too much.
I had 36,000 and I thought I'll never pay this off.
Yeah, terrible. It really is a trap, and it really does hold you back. I mean, we're seeing it in society, George. You're absolutely right. This is what's keeping people from having children. This is what's keeping people from buying their first home. It's what's making a lot of people feel trapped. And so if you can help your kids avoid that altogether, they're getting a head start in life.
Absolutely.
If you can do that one thing, you have given them a leg up in society.
Then they go, oh, we can actually afford a house one day.
Yes.
Because we're not going to spend the next 5 years trying to clean up a mess.
That's right. That's right. And now, on the other side of that, if you do have student loans, there's still hope for you. You can get out of them. But I'm just saying.
It's going to stunt your financial growth.
That's right. There's one situation that is clearly better than the other. If I could go back in time, I wish it were different.
You've been in a different place. But you cleaned it up. I cleaned it up. It's possible. But, you know, we can be the preventative medicine for our kids instead of the emergency surgery.
That's right.
So I think at the current time of uploading this video, there are many people who are being forced to pay back their student loans now, which could easily go into the 6 figures. I mean, she had 280, and I mean, they said it best. It will hinder your finances, buying a house, having children, and almost every example that I hear from somebody older who already finished college saying, I wish I could go back and do something different. Go to a community college for the first couple years, or go to a much cheaper 4-year university. But to finish off this video, I'm going to end on a positive note with a clip and a comment from one of you guys. 10 years ago, I was young in my early 20s with probably $40,000 in debt between a car and credit cards. One day I said no more and decided to work hard to pay it off. Today I have close to a 7-figure net worth and can't fathom that I had car payments that were 30% of my take-home pay. Today's a great day to turn your future around. So hopefully these types of videos that I make give you some sort of motivation, or at least deter you from falling into these same traps, the same situations that we're seeing. But we have a clip from the Dave Ramsey Show of somebody paying off a lot of their debt.
What kind of debt was the 158?
A car loan, student loans, credit card, and our mortgage.
Yay!
Whoa.
Looking at weird people.
Yes.
Paid for house. How old are you two?
I'm 28.
I'm 29.
This is so weird.
Not even 30 with a paid for house. Tell us what happened 5 years ago. How'd this journey start and what happened?
We got married in June 2017, beginning of marriage. We just spent every penny that we made, honestly. It was constantly going out with friends, whatnot. Whatever we had to do, honestly, we did it.
That's pretty cool.
And that was the consumer debt. And we followed the baby steps, got into our house in 2019. 2 weeks later, we found out we were pregnant, which was exciting, but not expected. And then we just knew, game on, we want to pay off this house as quick as possible. We had our second son. They're 13 months apart. So we just kind of had to keep reevaluating our game plan and figure out how to readjust and stay on track. It's been a blessing through it all. We've learned a lot, and I was able to leave my job and raise my babies, which is awesome for me.
So even though this definitely seems like a Midwestern couple with a $158,000 mortgage, that's almost unheard of in many markets around the country, still overall nice to see a positive story of somebody paying off their debt. I mean, having a paid for house and no consumer debt under 30 will definitely give you a leg up the rest of your life. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.